Every 60 seconds, a woman starts a business. That's the first line you're going to read in the book, Real You Incorporated. It was written by Kaira Sturdivant Rouda. She's the president of Real Living and author of this book. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Andrea. It's great to be here.
You know, we have a lot of women watching this show. Some of them are women who are at home with their children, who left the workplace and maybe want to get back into it and think about how they can start a business. This is something that's doable. I mean, you're a mother of 4,
Yeah.
you have a successful company. What tips would you have for somebody who thinks, you know, I kind of want to get back into it, I have a great idea, but I just don't even know if I have the resources to start?
Well, the first thing is that it's a great time to be a woman in business, no matter whether you are going to start a business right now or you're thinking about it a couple years from now. Because in my career, I've been staying at home, you know, with the kids at one point, and then back full-time at work, working for someone else, and then now with my own company. There's so many different paths, and the message of Really Incorporated, the book, is you've got to make sure you're doing it on your terms and in your way. And with the internet and access to information now, if you're at home right now with your kids and they're taking a nap, get online and start looking for people who are doing your dream and connecting with them.
Do you need to know that it just isn't something that can happen overnight, that you may be dreaming big, but does it really just happen in small steps, or can you take some big steps along the way?
I think it depends on you. The key is to know yourself, and that's what I talk about. The first step in the process in Really Incorporated is really defining you and your passions. Who am I, and what are my goals, and then how do I involve all my passions into it? So if I have a family and my kids, and that's one of my passions, I need to be able to balance that. What kind of a business, what kind of an industry allows me to do that? And there's so much more flexibility today. That's why you see women starting businesses at twice the rate of men.
I want to talk more about defining you and being true to yourself in a minute, but you do have 8 essentials that you talk about. There's a chart that we have that we're going to go ahead and take a look at, and these 8 essentials are listed in this. And I don't know, do they vary? Does the importance vary? Is one more important than another, or are they all
Of course
equally?
not. They're all essentials. Yeah. No, I think the process that I try to put in place, one's not more important than the other, but they all add to each other. So I really wanted to have something after you finished reading the book that you could take away and keep hold of for yourself. So starting at the center of your life, at the center of your heart, with you is the first step.
Number 1.
Yep.
So read what they all are. It's you, your passions, your brand, your company name, your positioning, your culture, your customers, and your gifts. So let's start with you. How would give me an example of how someone would not be true to themselves when they're starting a company?
I think for a long time in the business world, let's think traditional corporate business environment, there were certain rules and kind of certain parameters that you had to operate under. I just read an article that was in a kind of a traditional business publication, and it said no more than 22% of your cubicle should have personal items, you know? And like, who
defines that?
Who makes things
right?
like that up?
Yeah.
And if you walked into our offices, you would see a lot more than 22% of my life is in my office. But it really is about, you know, but if you're more comfortable in the traditional office environment, then you need to know that for yourself, and you just need to be true to you. And that's at the heart of the whole book.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to be shrewd to be successful? I mean, we could take a look at a lot of top successful business people today, and they have what seems like a reputation of being a little bit tougher. Someone like, let's say, Martha Stewart, who's been very successful, but she has earned, and I don't know if it's rightfully so or not, haven't worked for her, but this reputation of being kind of tough.
Right,
do you have to be tough to be successful?
And it's funny, and I don't know her either, so it's hard to look at a woman who's been so successful in so many different areas of her life, like a Martha Stewart, like any woman who gets to kind of Carly Fiore. You know, there's these women that you hear about, and did they have to be tough to get to where they are in what's been a traditionally male-dominated society? Absolutely. Does that come with a lot of backlash in a lot of different fields? Yeah. So do you have to be shrewd, or do you just have to be tough and go for what you want? And when you hit the glass ceiling, if you do you try to push against it? And if that doesn't work, then take another path. Yeah.
And do you need this clear definition of what you want your business to be? What if you're saying, thinking to yourself, I really would love to have my own company. I'd like to be in charge of something. I'd like to be working. I'd love to have people working for me, but I just don't know what that thing is.
Right.
How do you define what that thing can be?
And it's inspiration is everywhere. One of my favorite stories in the book, I have 24 entrepreneurs in the book who share their stories, and one of them is Meredith, and she was at home with her kid, and she's sick of the burp cloths that she was using there. She's like, these are boring and stupid. So she created these really wonderful burp cloths, and they ended up in the Academy Award bags because they just got viral, and she was online, and people asked for her. You know, so there's stories like that, inspirations anywhere.
Oh, well, this book is going to be, it's a great tool for a woman who really wants to try to get something started or even has a company and wants to see it succeed more. You are in town from Columbus, and you're going to be having a book signing tonight at the Borders over at Tower City Center today from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So maybe you want to get started now. Before the storm hits.
Right.
And there's the number 216-861-0010. All right, well, thank you so much. It was great to have you here, Kaira.
Thanks for having me, Andrea.
All right, well, stay with us. We'll be right back with much more of Good Company. We're going to